Okay, so we just learned about a bunch of statistic stuff, and it's some of them are kind of complicated math things. So the cool thing is we can have Excel do most of those calculations for us. So you are going to use height data. So in the morning, or today, I'm recording this the day before, but you're going to hopefully have an entire class set of heights in decimal feet. But for this practice one, I'm just going to show you, here's my data set. It's just some random numbers between 1 and 10. So as we just learned to calculate the mean is the average. So we add these up and divide by the numbers that we have. That one, most of you could probably do pretty quickly. But we can have Excel do it. And anytime we have Excel calculate an equation for us, we have to start with the equal sign. The equal sign tells Excel that it's going to calculate something for us. There are some shortcut commands. We could put in an equation if we wanted to, but if you just type in average, and so here's average, if you click that, so now it's automatically going to add up the numbers that you tell it to, and then divide by however many numbers that there are. So now we just need to tell Excel which numbers it needs to average. So the parenthesis, open parenthesis, means it's ready for a number. So we're just going to click on the first number, and that is cell B5, which is why B5 shows up. And then over here it kind of tells you some instructions. So we put in the first number, so we need to put in comma our next number, and then this we're going to hit shift, and actually we're not going to hit shift. We are just going to take the bottom of this blue square and we're going to drag it to include all the numbers. And then we're going to hit enter. So it calculated the average for us. It's 5.2727 repeating. And somewhere we could go and change the number of decimal places, but this is good enough for right now. The next one we want to do is we want to do the median. We want to do a middle number. And so again, we're going to hit equals. And then if we type in median, there's a program, so we're going to click. And then we're going to click on the first number, drag the corner of the box down to include all the numbers, hit enter. And so the middle number is 5. And so again, if we put all the numbers from start to finish in numerical order, the middle number would be 5. And if we have an even data set like we have here, then it averages the two middle numbers. The mode is the one that just appears most often. So again, we're going to type in an equation, and then we're going to type in mode. And I think that's the one we want. And again, we're going to click on, oops, let's try that again. So equals, let me double check which one do we want. Let's do mode single, that might be the right one. So we're going to click the data set, drag it, hit enter. So the single most common number, single modal is 5, and then if we wanted bimodal, we would have used the different equation that we had. So min and max, there's probably a way to calculate it. I'm sure we'll even try it. I wonder if there's one. So we do min, and then between these numbers, so the minimum number is 1. Obviously for that one you could have just looked down the list and found the smallest number, but it's always fun to have Excel do the work for us. So let's do the same thing for max. So we'll just type in max, and this number, drag our data set, and enter. So the maximum number is 9. Okay, the next one is range. So we're going to hit equal, and we're going to type in range, and see if one comes up. Hold on a second. So for range, we're just going to take the minimum and the maximum and subtract them. So this is all the information we need for the range. So we're going to set up our own equation. So we're going to hit equals. And we could just do 9 minus 1, but let's just click on this cell, and then we're going to subtract, hit the minus sign, and hit this cell. And then hit enter, and it calculates it for us. So if we went and changed our data set, then this would automatically update. We wouldn't have to go do it. Okay, now we're going to calculate the standard deviation, and we're going to do it 2 ways. The standard deviation for population, if whatever data set we have here represents all of the numbers in the population, then we would use this one. If this is only a sample of the population, then we would use this one. But we're just going to practice, so we're just going to go ahead and do them both. So we're going to type equals and then start typing standard, and you can see that there's standard deviation P, standard deviation S. So we're just going to click on this one, and same as before, we're going to highlight our data set and equals. So here's our standard deviation as if this were the population, and we're going to do the same thing, but now we're going to do S as if this were a sample. So you can see our standard deviations are pretty close, but based on the assumption that this is the entire population or not, that changes our standard deviation. Okay, so for our bins, we're going to set up a histogram, and we want to kind of visualize where this data is. When we do our instant challenge, this will be hopefully kind of cool. We'll hopefully see a bell curve. I just picked some random numbers, so we may not see a bell curve here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the range, and we have a range of 8, and we're going to divide that up into, let's say, 4 bins. So if we divide 8 into 4 different bins, then we're going to have a bin of 2 size, if that makes any sense. So it made more sense for me to just show you. So our first bin will be any numbers between 1 and 2. And of course it changes that to, I don't want it to do that, crap. We may have to come back to that one. The next one is anything between 3 and 4. Okay, this is a problem. I don't know how to change that. Oh, of course. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording, and I'll make another recording for the bins once I figure this out.